Hi there. On December 24, 1971, LANSA Airlines Flight 8 took off from Lima, Peru's capital. On board were 86 passengers, bound for the city of Pucallpa, flying over the vast Amazon rainforest. The first half hour of the flight passed without incident. The crew served breakfast, the pilots chatted about their families, and the passengers were excited for the holidays, with Christmas just around the corner. Everyone was looking forward to celebrating with their loved ones. But as the plane began its descent, dark clouds suddenly appeared, and a violent storm took shape. The pilots made a fateful decision. Instead of avoiding the storm, they flew straight into it. Within minutes, the cabin was plunged into darkness. Lightning flashed outside, and turbulence shook the plane violently. The turbulence became so intense that luggage tumbled out of overhead compartments, crashing onto passengers. Panic spread like wildfire. For 20 terrifying minutes, the chaos continued. Then, at 21,000 feet, lightning struck the plane's right wing, igniting a fire. Seconds later, the right wing tore off completely, followed by part of the left wing. With only 15 minutes left before landing in Pucallpa, the plane began to break apart at 10,000 feet. Air traffic controllers on the ground suddenly noticed the plane vanish from radar. Some hoped it had made an emergency landing, but the truth soon became horrifyingly clear. The plane had crashed entirely. Peru launched its largest search operation in history. Days later, rescue teams discovered wreckage scattered across the dense Amazon jungle. Suitcases hung from trees, and spilled Christmas gifts decorated the branches like ornaments. The search continued tirelessly, but no survivors were found. It was assumed all passengers had perished. After a fall from 10,000 feet, survival seemed impossible. Yet that assumption was wrong. One passenger had survived. Deep in the Amazon, far from any settlement, 17-year-old Julian Kupke was alive, a miracle against all odds. But survival was only the beginning. Injured and alone on the forest floor, there was no one to help her. The official search had ended, and everyone assumed she was dead, like the others. Julianne had been traveling with her mother, Maria. They were on their way to the Panguana Biological Research Station, a research site in the Amazon her zoologist parents had founded. Their plan was to spend Christmas together as a family. They had originally intended to travel earlier, but Julianne had delayed due to school events. By Christmas, most flights were sold out, leaving only LANSA Airlines. Her father had warned repeatedly against this airline, known for its poor safety record, but with no alternatives, they booked the tickets. LANSA's reputation was dreadful. In Spanish, people joked, "Lanza se lanza de panza," which roughly means, "With LANSA, you fall belly first." Many of their planes had crashed previously, and this flight used LANSA's last remaining Lockheed L-188 Electra turboprop, an aircraft designed for desert flights, not for the mountainous Andes over which they were flying. When lightning struck, Julianne was in seat 19F, a window seat in the second-to-last row. The row of 3 seats tore away from the plane. Because her seatbelt was fastened, Julianne stayed strapped in as it plunged 10,000 feet.
What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. Her seat spun like a helicopter rotor, slowing her descent. Strong updrafts from the storm further reduced her speed, and the thick Amazon canopy cushioned her fall. Against all odds, she survived, but her struggle had just begun. Injured, alone, and disoriented, she had to fend for herself. Julianne called out for her mother and other passengers, but only the sounds of frogs, insects, and birds answered. Fortunately, the jungle wasn't unfamiliar. She had spent 3 years at Panguana with her zoologist parents and knew which plants and animals were dangerous. She understood that staying calm and thinking clearly would be essential. After several hours of rest, she managed to stand. She discovered a broken collarbone, injuries to her knees, shoulder, and calves, a swollen eye, and a concussion. Her glasses and 1 sandal were lost. Despite the pain, survival became her focus. She needed water and food first. She licked droplets off leaves and searched for anything edible. Most plants didn't produce edible food near the ground, so she avoided mushrooms, worried they might be poisonous, and rationed the small supply of candy scattered from the plane. With just 30 candies, she ate sparingly. Her grandmother had given her a watch, which helped her keep a sense of time. Julianne knew she couldn't stay put. Hours later, She heard the sound of dripping water and found a small stream, a lifeline. She followed it, hoping it would lead to a larger river and, eventually, human settlements. Alone in the Amazon, surrounded by alligators, venomous snakes, and countless other dangers, she pressed on. She navigated thick vegetation, slippery rocks, and fallen trees. Nightfall brought new challenges. She found sheltered spots to rest, battling exhaustion and her injuries. Each day, she moved slowly along the river, conserving energy, drinking water, and rationing her food. Maggots infested some wounds, and she used a silver ring to remove them, a painful but necessary task to prevent infection. She even swam along the river to escape a female alligator. She remained alert to other wildlife, from predatory birds to deer, signaling she was still far from civilization. On the 10th day, she spotted a boat near the river, a sign of hope. With her last bit of strength, she made it to a small hut. No one was there, but she found petrol, which she used to remove the last maggots from her wounds. Finally, she encountered people. 3 locals appeared, initially terrified by her bloodied, injured appearance, thinking she was a supernatural figure from Amazonian legends. When she explained in Spanish that she was the sole survivor of the LANSA crash, they realized the truth and helped her with clothing, food, and medical care. She was taken to a nearby village for treatment and eventually flown to Iquitos, where doctors provided proper care. After 11 harrowing days, Julianne returned home alive, a true testament to survival. Julianne Kopke had endured the Amazon alone, facing injuries, hunger, and dangerous wildlife. Her knowledge, courage, and determination saved her life when everyone else perished. Today, Julianne is a renowned zoologist, continuing her parents' work in Amazon research and conservation. Her story remains one of the most remarkable survival tales in history. Her story teaches an important lesson. No matter how impossible things seem, courage, determination, and resourcefulness can help you overcome the toughest challenges. If a 17-year-old girl could survive the Amazon alone after such a fall, imagine what you can achieve in your own life.